the church too, there's a role that men are to have, and that is, I would call it a servant leader, being a servant leader. Jesus said he didn't come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. Everyone has a uniqueness about them, unique giftings and callings and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a place, sometimes people say, well, if I'm not a pastor or an evangelist or a missionary, what good am I in the church? Or if I can't just, fix the roof or something. But there's a whole variety of ministries that men have of serving the Lord. But the character is so important, that having a godly character, your character is more important than your charisma. The charisma is how other people see you, what you look like on the outside, but what's your godly character? I think of in Acts chapter 6, there's when they were choosing the deacons to serve the widows that were being neglected in the early church in Jerusalem, they said, get 7 men full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom, that we may appoint over this business.
Mm-hmm.
So of good reputation, full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So this is so important, the character. And it's interesting too, what Paul told Timothy. He says, train faithful men,
Mm-hmm.
find faithful men and teach them. So the faithfulness, that means loyalty, dedication,
Mm-hmm.
to the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and to the people. Faithfulness is one of the greatest attributes
Mm-hmm.
that we can have. He said, commit the things that you've heard of me among many witnesses, commit to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also.
Mm-hmm.
So faithfulness, sometimes we think, well, let's look for people that are gifted in this area. Well, if someone's really gifted but they're not faithful,
Mm-hmm.
really, what good is that? So find faithful, loyal men of godly character, and then the giftings will be released to bless the church and to bless their families.
Well, I think too, when you're talking about faithfulness, I really see that as integrity,
Yes.
integrity, purity. One who is consistent all the way through. They don't have hidden agendas. They don't have secrets. They don't have other motives. They're not trying to build the church or something so they can look good. It's not an empire building kind of thing, but they're men who are they have integrity in the things of God, and the things of God are the most important to them. And if you find a man like that, they're more. I think they're more precious than gold, and they're probably more rare than gold too, because there's just such a much of confusion. The enemy is always working to undermine our sense of identity, who we are. We don't know who we are. Many in the church really don't know who they are because they don't really have a concept of where they come from. They know we're created by God, but then that stops right there. It doesn't. So now we switch over to everybody has to be defined by their behavior instead of by their being and by their origin. And men are the same way. I mean, men are really, women are vain in some ways, and they want to look beautiful and they have all their other catty things that they do. But men are they're really hooked in to trying to be important by what they do. They want to be seen as successful. Their church has to be big. They have to have, whatever it is, they have to have their name on something. They have to be successful. And this takes away from being men of integrity, because a lot of times they'll compromise the faithfulness and the truth and the purity of who they are. They'll compromise it with, to get an advantage or to sell out on something or to, compromise, do something that's not worthy of the Lord. And so they become compromised. And so you have a lot of this mixture in men, and then they're vulnerable because once the devil gets you compromised on something, that's where he comes in again and again to take more from you, take more advantage of you, blackmail you, bully you, betray you. And that's why men, not just in church, but in the society in general, are super compromised because they have been tricked, been deceived, pulled away, enticed by the things of the world to become great. They've been, here's another thing with men. They're easily seduced with flattery, and Satan
Mhm.
knows that. So that's why he practices a lot of witchcraft against men.
So another thing too with integrity, if you don't have integrity, you're haunted by evil secrets,
Mhm.
right? So integrity, it's like a piece of furniture. If it's solid wood, it's the same all the way through. If it's cheap furniture, it has a cheaper wood underneath and then a coating. And so a lot of people they have this coating,
Veneer.
this veneer,
Yeah.
and they look so good and look so wonderful, but then what we find out is that, oh man, they were living this double life.
Hmm.
The integrity is just absolutely essential.
Well, then you don't have to be ashamed of being exposed.
Yeah, because you've got nothing to hide,
You're
right?
not fake.
Right. You're not right. You're not fake.